Hello, everyone, and welcome to Medicare 101. If you're turning 65 soon, planning on retiring, or simply trying to understand how Medicare works, you're absolutely in the right place. Over the next few minutes, the goal of this workshop is very simple. I want to help you understand how Medicare works, what your options are, and how to avoid the most common mistakes people make when they first enroll. Before we get started, I encourage you to grab a piece of paper or a notebook. You can write down any questions that come up during this presentation. Also, throughout today's workshop, you will see a booking link available where you can schedule one-on-one consultation. If you have personal questions about your situation, your doctors, your medications, that consultation is where we can walk through everything in detail together. Before we jump into it, I want to take a quick moment just to introduce myself. My name is Frank Cochran, and I've specialized in helping individuals and families navigate Medicare and retirement transitions. So I've been doing this for about 7 years, and I work with several clients, about 1,200 throughout the year. I do walk-ins, phone calls, appointments, but I have about 560 that I work with every annual enrollment period. And we take a look at what their plans have, we take a look at what changes they are, and we make adjustments for the upcoming year. So why I chose to specialize in Medicare is simple. It's very, very difficult to understand, and it's always changing, so it's always challenging. So my motivation for doing this is actually got two personal stories that contrast each other very differently. My grandfather, when he passed away, he died 10 years after my grandmother, and we did not realize that his life insurance policy had lapsed. So when it was time to bury him, it left my mother and my two aunts scrambling to come up with the money to bury him. The other personal experience that I have is my father. When he passed away, he had everything taken care of. There was no stress. We were able to grieve. We were able to reconnect with old family members. I was able to share stories from my perspective with my sister and my two brothers. They were able to share their stories with me. It was an entirely different situation. So my motivation for doing this is simply to protect your children from having to go through the same thing that I went through. So many people entering Medicare feel overwhelmed because they start receiving a lot of mail, a lot of advertisements, and a lot of conflicting information. My role is simply to process and help people understand their options so they can make confident decisions. Our team focuses on helping people navigate Medicare and retirement decisions. We help individuals understand their Medicare options, compare coverage and multiple companies. We make sure their doctors and their medications are covered. We avoid penalties, and common enrollment mistakes. One more important thing to understand is that we work with different insurance carriers. That allows us to compare plans objectively and find the very best options for you based on your medications and your doctors. We don't push any specific company. We don't push any specific product. There's no two situations that are the same. Everyone is due a legitimate benefits review. So every person who enrolls in Medicare begins with something called Original Medicare. Now, Original Medicare consists of two parts. Your Part A is your hospital coverage. This covers inpatient hospital stays, skilled nursing care, and certain facility-based services. The other part is Medicare Part B, medical coverage. Okay, so that's going to include your doctor's visits, your outpatient procedures, your lab work, and other medical services. Part A is typically premium free if you worked or your spouse worked for at least 40 quarters, that's 10 years, and paid Medicare taxes during your working years. Part B does have a monthly premium. In 2026, the standard monthly premium was $202.90 per month. So when someone first enrolls in Medicare, the first cost they typically encounter is that Medicare Part B premium. Now let's talk for a minute about enrollment and how that works. There are three common situations where people fall into when they turn 65. Scenario one, you're already receiving Social Security benefits. In that case, enrollment is automatic. Your Medicare card will typically arrive in the mail about 3 months before you turn 65. Now, scenario two is you're not receiving Social Security yet. In this case, you must enroll in Medicare manually, either through the Social Security Administration. You can do so online, over the phone, or in person. Scenario three is you're still working and covered by an employer health plan. In this situation, you may be able to delay enrolling in Part B without a penalty. However, it is very important that you compare your employer coverage with your Medicare and to determine which option makes more sense for your particular situation. Now, I've got a couple of situations to where I had clients that one retired a couple of years ago. He was in very good health. Whenever he enrolled in Medicare Part B, we took a look at what was available. He chose to go with the Medicare Advantage plan. It included dental, vision, and hearing. He likes to go to the gym and stay busy, so that plan worked out really well for him. He's one of the 560 that I talk to every year. We make sure that his plan is still working out for him. We update doctors. If he's seeing any new doctors, we update medications. And based on how the plan's performing, we either stick with what he's got, or if the plan is staying in the zip code, if the plan is leaving, then we have to make a change. Now, the other scenario that I had was a client a couple months ago that was retiring at the end of the month. He had a choice to either stay with his employer coverage or go with a Medicare plan, and he chose to go with a Medicare plan. The reason why he did that was because it was cheaper for him to have a Medicare supplement. He had a history of heart issues and cancer, and he was worried about not being able to get coverage. Well, he was in his initial enrollment period, so he wasn't subject to pre-existing conditions. He was able to enroll. It was very simple, and he's got great coverage. His original Medicare is going to cover 80%. His supplement's going to cover the 20%. He's going to pay a monthly premium. He's got predictable costs for what's going to come in the near future. Now, not every plan is going to work for everyone, so it's very important that we take a look at your specific doctors and we take a look at your specific medications to see what's going to work best for you. Now, for most individuals, Medicare coverage begins the first day of the month that they turn 65. So if you were born on, say, August the 8th, your coverage would begin on August the 1st. If you were born on August the 1st, your coverage will begin the first day of the preceding month. So the only exception, again, is if someone is born on the first day of the month, then their coverage starts the first day of the month before. So, one biggest misconceptions about Medicare is that it covers everything. In reality, it doesn't. Original Medicare leaves several important financial exposures. For example, when it comes to hospital stays, under Part A, there is a deductible that can exceed $1,700. Under Part B, there's an annual deductible, and after that, Medicare only covers about 80% of that. So the other 20% you're responsible for, and those numbers can add up really quick. So if someone experiences a serious illness or a medical event, those costs can get outrageous if you're not protected. This is why most people add additional coverage on the top of their original Medicare. So after enrolling in original Medicare, people typically choose one of two paths. Option one is a Medicare supplement plan, also called Medigap. Those plans work alongside of your original Medicare, and they help cover many of the deductibles and co-insurance costs. Both plans have their benefits, but the benefits of Medicare supplement include there's no networks, ability to see any doctor nationwide who accepts Medicare, and you have very predictable health care costs. That's the important thing. The trade-off is that these plans usually have a higher monthly premium. But once you compare that to co-payments and max out-of-pockets, it's really a lot cheaper than what you think. Medicare Advantage plans are private insurance plans that replace your original Medicare. These plans often have lower premiums and may include additional benefits like dental, vision, and gym memberships. However, they also involve networks, co-pays, deductibles, and annual out-of-pocket maximums. That's the things that can really add up on a Medicare Advantage plan. So again, one may be better, one may not be better. We have to look at your specific situation. Now, neither option is going to be universal. The right choice depends on the person's health, financial goals, and preferences. So another important topic that people do not realize is long-term care exposure. Medicare coverage for skilled nursing facilities is limited. Days 1 through 20 may be covered under certain conditions, but days 21 through 100 require daily copayments. Day 100, Medicare stops paying entirely. That means extended care, assisted living, or nursing home costs often become the responsibility of the individual or their family. So, in the instance of my wife's grandfather, he had Parkinson's disease, and we were able to keep him home, but we had to have a healthcare provider there every day. So we had a home health plan that helped cover that. It paid a certain amount every single day to cover that cost. And thank the Lord that we did, because that would have gotten really expensive really quickly, because he had help for a long time. Now, prescription drugs are covered through a part of Medicare called Part D. There's Part D prescription drugs, okay? So they are different, Part D plans available. The best one depends entirely on your medications and the pharmacy that you use. So during a consultation, prescriptions are entered into Medicare's comparison system to determine which plan offers the lowest total cost for your medications. One important thing to know is that if someone does not enroll in a prescription drug plan, when they first become eligible, they may face a lifetime penalty. So many people transitioning to Medicare are also transitioning into retirement. This is often when people begin evaluating their retirement income sources, such as your 401ks, IRAs, brokerage accounts, CDs, and savings. Healthcare planning and retirement planning are very closely connected. So reviewing both together can be extremely helpful. And sort of to wrap things up, this process happens in about 3 steps. Step 1 is education. That's what we're doing here today. Step 2 is, a personalized consultation where we review your doctor's medications and financial goals. And step 3 is ongoing support to make sure that the plan continues to work for you each year. If you would like help reviewing your options, simply schedule a consultation today using the booking link provided. Thank you again for spending your time with me today. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to helping you navigate those Medicare decisions. Thank you.